Should I get started?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so don't be offended. I'm going to mute all of you. But you don't, you can unmute yourself when you're ready to chat. It's just to keep the kind of the noise down a little bit. So real quickly, I'm going to tell you my name is Lori. Hello. I am with One Hope Wine, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming to our tasting. I met Kim on somebody else's virtual tasting, and she had a good time, and she thought, I want to do this. I think it looks like fun. So we're going to have a blast. We're going to talk about all the wine and all the give back. I want to very briefly just introduce again for those who didn't hear me. Jen Ginsberg is joining us from Texas, and Susan is still here. She took off her camera, but she is joining us from Highlands Ranch. They are both on my team. And one of the ways I train is I have people, when I'm doing tastings in person, which is what we normally do, they come to my tastings with me, and that's how I train. We're not doing that, so they're on the virtual. So they're just here to kind of observe and kind of see how this goes so that they can do it themselves. I am recording this, and I will only use it for training purposes. So I'm not going to put you on 9 News or anything crazy like that. I hope that's okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about One Hope. And then I'm going to toss it over to Kim to talk about who we're raising money for and why. And we'll kind of go from there. Everybody has wine to share. Is that correct? Let's see those glasses. Okay. There's a lot going on.
Except for the Delaware people. And Anne has joined us down there at the bottom. And Anne she's in Florida.
Yay! I love Florida so much. Okay, so real quickly, what I'm going to tell you is One Hope is a Napa Valley winery. We are based in Rutherford in Napa. Who's been to Napa? Hands for anybody that's been to Napa? Yay, most beautiful place on earth. Yay, 2 hands from Steph. She's all, heck, yes, I've been to Napa. So we're right in Rutherford. We are what's called a cause commerce winery. And what that means is that we donate the majority of our profits to charities. So every single wine that we try tonight and every single wine that we create does give back to charity. We've donated over $5 million so far to our partner causes through the sales of our wine. So we're real serious about our mission, but it's wine, so we're not that serious because wine. Along with the donations that we make on our bottles, we partner with our hosts to raise money for the things that they're passionate about. So Kim is going to unmute herself because she's a Zoom pro. And she is also, are you not frozen, are you? No, so Kim is raising money tonight for Planned Parenthood. So I'm personally just thrilled about that. But I would love for you, Kim, to share your passion about Planned Parenthood and what made you decide to raise money tonight.
Well, I mean, Planned Parenthood and I go back to when I was a freshman in college. And, you know, they provided the free birth control, no questions asked, and I didn't have to pay a cent, and I couldn't afford a cent. So it was perfect. And, you know, I just like their mission, and there's only a few charities that we have donated to for probably 40 years. Habitat for Humanity is one of them, and Planned Parenthood is the other one. And others vary, but I wanted to go for something a little more political, but decided I would maybe not do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, we will raise money for any 501c3, so any charity at all, or if your kid's school has a 501c3, or your kid's soccer team, or the local food bank, anything at all. So it doesn't have to be a national organization. It can be a local organization. And that's honestly one of the things I love most about One Hope. There's very little I don't love about One Hope. We're just such a great company. And I will tell you that in this crazy time in the world, being aligned with a company like this, whose true heart and mission is to make the world better through meaningful wine and experiences, I couldn't imagine being any place better. So, and I will share with you, Kim, my mother, who is 81, also took avail of Planned Parenthood services when she was a young woman. So, and I did, most women have. I think. And so it's such a great organization. It just gives me a lot of pride, and I just feel super cool that we're raising money for such a great organization. So that's what we do. I will tell you that the company was started just about 13 years ago by a young man named Jake Cloverdance. Jake was 24. He had just graduated from Berkeley. He was working for Gallo Wine, and part of his job at Gallo was shelving wine in stores, liquor stores, and grocery stores and things in California. And he noticed that in October, everything turned pink, and he lost shelf space. It was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all the soup cans were pink, and all the Yoplait lids were pink, and he thought, I mean, that's cool, but why is it only breast cancer, and why is it only 1 month? Why aren't we raising money? Remember, he was 24 years old. Now, some of us have had 24-year-olds, and it's pretty rare that they think, I'm going to start a wine company so that I can give back with everything that we do. That was his thought. Everything we purchase should give back. I will mention he was also very close with Blake, the founder of Tom's Shoes, at the same time. So together they were sort of coming up with this thought that, man, we should be doing more in the world. So Jake decided he was going to start a wine company. He went back to his job at Gallo Wine and sort of recruited some of the kids that he was working with into joining him in this wine company that he was going to start. And what that looked like was, they were all, by the way, 24 years old. I think Tom Leahy, who One Hope folks know, he was the old guy, and I think he was 26. And he had about $500 in the bank, and they were like, he's going to be the CFO because he knows what to do with money. They didn't have a dime, right? So together, they pooled their money, which looked like maxed out their credit cards, and they were able to come up with about $10,000. Jake had a relationship because of working with Gallo. He had a relationship with the folks at the Sonoma Wine Company. Sonoma Wine Company does bottling for other vintners and vineyards. The bottling is an expensive process, and a lot of wineries will outsource that. And they outsource it, a lot of them, to Sonoma Wine Company. Well, Jake went up there and talked them into pulling a bunch of wine off of the big run they were doing for another label. They were able to get, I never can remember, it was like 197 cases of this wine in Shiner bottles, which are bottles without any labels. And Jake was also the fundraising chair for his fraternity. So he had already had conversations with a few of the charity partners that we still work with today, and said, hey, I want to put your name on my bottle. I'll give you half the profit. And they were like, okay, that sounds like a no-brainer. Go for it. So these guys took this wine, piled it in the trunks of their cars, drove back down to LA where they were living, and using clip art, made these ribbons and glued them on the bottles, saying, we're giving back to ACT Today, or we're giving back to Gateway for Cancer Research. There was nothing else on the bottle, totally illegal, like 100%. There was no government information, nothing. They didn't know. They were 24 years old. What do they know? So they start selling it at the bars and the restaurants that they've been hanging out at, and everybody loves it. They think it's totally cool. They think it's, oh, we love your mission, blah, blah, blah. They get an opportunity to do a 3-day wine event, and it's an industry event. So it's not like a wine festival. It's bottlers and vintners and labelers and growers. And they're all coming through, and they're pouring the wine, and they're like, this is what we're doing, and we're giving back, and everybody loves it. They think it's great. At the end of the 3 days, they've got a big stack of business cards, as you do if you ever do a trade show. They're going through the business cards, and one of the cards is from Michael Mondavi. And if you're familiar with that name, are people generally familiar with the Mondavi name? That's who started the wine industry in California. It's Robert Sr. is who started it, came over, started growing grapes in Napa, was the first vintner to open up. This is from his son, Michael, and written on the back, it says, give me a call. So Jake, and I always say, Jake is the guy that will literally sell your necklace off your neck back to you, and you'll be grateful for the experience. He's so passionate about his beliefs. So Jake calls and he says, hey, Jake Cloverdance, One Hope Wine. And Michael says, yes, I know who you are. I love what you're doing. I love your mission. He says, your wine is terrible. And he says, I'd like to see if maybe we can partner to make a really beautiful wine to go with your mission. So that began our partnership with the Mondavi family. We still work with the Mondavis today. Just about 3 years ago, we brought on Mari Wells Coyle, who came to us from Sterling Vineyards, from Gloria Ferrar, Sparkling Wine House. She's won tons and tons of awards. She is now our primary winemaker, but we do still work with the Mondavi. So all of the wine that we're going to drink tonight was created by Mari, and some of them had Mondavi. Rob Jr., the grandson, has him on the bottle as well. So that's how we started. But now we need to drink. I'm getting a weird message. So does everybody have the Sparkling Brut or no?
No, I ended up giving the Sparkling Brut just to Judy. Judy is going to Brut, yes.
So Judy, would you mind unmuting and talking to us a little bit about your Sparkling Brut? Have you started drinking it? I hope everybody's been drinking.
Do you know, Judy, do you know how to unmute?
Oh, I can do it. I can do it. Hang on.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
So you want to show them your cute little bottle?
Yep.
Aren't they cute? So our Sparkling Brut comes in big bottles, obviously, but also in these little tiny minis, we call them. And so you can see the bubbles on the top. This is our Vintner Sparkling Brut. And I love to just always have these things in the fridge because who doesn't just need a little bottle of Brut now and again? That's all I'm saying. So what do you want to tell us about it, Judy?
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah. It's always fun. It's always a little surprise because I think people are expecting maybe a dry, sort of bitter, but it's so pretty.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit fruity and smooth. It's
I
really
love it.
nice.
So if you were picking, if you were going to describe the aroma and the flavor, what would you choose? What would you decide?
I don't know about flavor. The flavor is slightly fruity and smooth.
Okay.
The aroma,
I'm smelling with you.
I'm not sure.
Maybe apples, pears.
Yeah, it is. It's like that kind of a very subtle fruity thing. It's not overpowering in any way.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Really
Good.
nice. I'm not
Good.
usually a huge. Yeah, this is good.
So if you love sparkling wine, our Vintner Sparkling Brut is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely goes with everything. Hi, I see somebody sneaking in to say hi. So our Sparkling Brut partners with an organization called Why Hunger. Why Hunger provides healthy meals for hungry kids in the U.S. So 1 in 5 children in the United States do not know where their next meal is coming from. I think, are some of you, if not most of you, educators? No?
I have been.
Okay. So a lot of times I do a lot of
Ones.
things for teachers and administration, and they all are very familiar with that statistic. 1 in 5 kids in our country do not know where their next meal is coming from. Why
That's just
Hunger
wrong.
provides meals? It's tragic. It's tragic. They provide meals through community gardens and backpack programs, things like that, so that all kids can have healthy food. We've been able to provide over 3 million meals through the sales of our Sparkling Brut. So when you purchase Sparkling Brut tonight, you should know that not only are you giving back to Planned Parenthood with 10% of your purchase, we're also donating to Why Hunger with that purchase. So that pairs really nicely, by the way. What did you send pairings, Kim?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. No worries. No worries. I thought you were going to hook up with Kyle and make some like, no.
Chocolate here.
Kyle barely has time to do anything. So,
Okay. So that's going to pair very nicely with anything with a lot of fat in it. Those bubbles and a little bit of sweetness are going to cut through like a brie cheese or fish and chips. So anything really, really fatty. It's also just heaven by itself. Like you cannot go wrong. It's absolutely delicious. So thank you, Judy. I appreciate you.
Delicious.
Good.
Thanks.
Hey,
no chugging, Judy.
you get to do
I still
whatever
have
you
some
want.
left later.
Okay, now,
You can-
so going forward, Kim, does everybody have everything on the list?
Yes, except the Delaware and the Florida people.
Right. Sorry, we'll hook you up later, guys. When you decide you want to host a tasting, we'll get the wine to you, except for Delaware. Sorry. And you can share that around with your friends like Kim did. So next up should be our Pinot Grigio. So everybody has a little taster of Pinot Grigio?
Yep.
Yay, perfect. Look at you fancies, getting it all in the glass. Doesn't it smell amazing?
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna unmute you guys. I'd love to hear your comments. Let's see how I undo that. How do I unmute? I'm gonna I already did that. Just unmute yourself if you want to talk about that Pinot Grigio. Sorry.
I normally don't like Pinot Grigio, but this is very nice because it's
good.
light and it's not too fruity
Yeah.
for me because I don't care for the fruity,
Okay.
but it's very light and it's a nice taste.
It is. When I smell the Pinot Grigio, I get almost like an unripe guava. Who has the bottle? Kim, do you have the bottle?
I have the bottle.
Good. So if you're going to help me present tonight, if you would, no worries. If you would read kind of the back of the bottle, there's a ton of information on there.
All right. It helps fund a pet adoption. It's estimated that only 50% of animals in shelters will find home. And the tasting profile is juicy white nectarine, crisp acidity, and dry. Pairs well with lemon chicken, key lime pie, and faded blue jeans.
Yes. Yes. So all of our wines have all of that information on the back. So you can go to a dinner party and be like, yes, I'm getting white nectarine, right? Like you can act super fancy. That's what makes it my job like super fun and easy because everything's literally on the back of the bottle. So it does give to an organization that you've probably all heard of. It's called the ASPCA. It's everybody pretty much. Sarah McLachlan, when you can't sleep, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Sarah with the sad puppies, and she's in the arms of the angel, right? So that's who we partner with on our Pinot Grigio and our Pinot Noir. We call it Pinot for Paws. One of the cool things about that wine is there's 0 residual sugar in that wine. So it is, it's going to be bright and crisp. Again, it's going to pair well with really anything. I tend to call it a porch pounder. Which just means basically you're just going to sit on your porch and drink it all night. You know, it's good with a friend or by yourself, whatever. Great. Very good. So any feedback? Yeah.
Well, does everybody know how to unmute themselves? If you take your mouse and put it down in your left-hand corner, a mic will come up and you hit that to mute or unmute. So
Yeah, I'd love to hear your comments about it. Thanks, Sally. For
Pinot Grigio is one of my go-to wines.
Is it?
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of times of just like of summer, you know, cool and crisp. And actually for Cindy's party, I bought the regular Pinot Grigio and I brought the reserve Pinot Grigio.
The Italian.
And nights when Buzz and I have nothing else to do, nowhere to go, we're gonna have a off between the reserve and the regular.
Love it. I love it. I would love to hear your feedback on that. I think Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about what I think. I would love to hear your feedback on that, though. So we do have,
Okay.
that was such a great time for you to bring that up. We do have an international collection, and the reserve that Kim is talking about is our Italian Pinot Grigio. And it is pretty different from our Vintner Pinot Grigio. I think the Vintner is a little juicier, where the Italian is a little more dry. So Sally, you might stick with that Vintner, right? Because you don't really like that. Was that, you don't like
I
it because,
like more of the dry wines, so that's why I like this.
okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Awesome. Okay, next up, I have a wine that you don't have, that I'm going to talk about because it's become my very favorite summer wine. It's a Viognier. Has anybody heard of Viognier?
I actually ordered a bottle of that from you, and it was really good.
Isn't it
Real-
delicious?
Good enough that I had to look up how to pronounce it because I didn't want to sound
I
stupid.
know. Well, that's, in all honesty, that's why people don't order it, because they don't know how to say it. So I'm going to show you the label, if I can figure out my left-right handedness. So Viognier, Viognier, which I called Viogner until somebody's trained me better. This wine, I am not kidding you, has absolutely become my favorite. Sometimes people call it a Chardonnay for Chardonnay haters. So one thing that you'll notice, who still has a Pinot Grigio in their glass? Does anybody? I should have done this prior. No.
Drank mine.
What are you drinking, Jen?
The Pinot Grigio.
Okay, so what I want you to do is be like the makeup girls and put your hand behind it and kind of hold it up to the camera. So can you see how light that Pinot Grigio is compared to this Viognier?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So thank you, Jen. So this is a lot more yellow in this, which means there's more skin, more of the grape skin in the wine. When I open this wine, and Kim, you kind of mentioned that in your last tasting notes, but it smells like Napa in the summer. It smells like hay. It smells like, it's very minerally. It's so, a lot of people don't like Chardonnay because they don't like that heavier oak flavor, which actually our Chardonnay does not have. And I don't think we're not drinking Chardonnay tonight because I brought that back. But so when I opened it and I smelled it, it absolutely smelled like Napa in the summer, just all that green and all that growth and just that heat. It is a beautiful, beautiful wine. If you don't like Chardonnay, but you do like a white wine, I highly recommend it. It's almost more savory than anything. Tasting notes on the bottle are thistle flower, nectarine, honeycomb, and mineral. So if you think about honeycomb isn't like super sweet, right? It's what the honey is in. So you get this vague sweetness, but not an overpowering flavor. I also love it because it gives to an organization that helps support the homeless. This bottle helps end homelessness through employment assistance. It says, when asked, 34% of homeless people say employment assistance could have prevented their homelessness. And if you've ever been downtown Denver, but really any city, and seen the number of homeless encampments, it's just devastating. It's just devastating. So it makes me really proud that we are trying to help that in some way. The other thing I'll just point out to you, and this is on the back of all of our bottles, are these dots. So on the back of the bottles that you have, Kim, you'll see a little dot pattern. And so I told you 34% of homeless people say employment assistance could have prevented their homelessness. So what you'll see is that there are 3 dots, and one of them are this purple, and that's to indicate that 33%. So Kim, if you look on the back of your bottles, you'll see a little box that shows that. So again, it's very cool because you're giving this maybe as a gift, and the person knows that it's not only giving back to the host's cause, but what we're doing with it as well. So, okay, any questions about the Viognier?
I would say really liked it. It's a little bit sweeter than the Pinot, and a little heavier, but not in a bad way.
Right.
Like having that with like cheese and crackers and fruit and stuff. The Pinot Grigio, I could just sit and drink it by itself, but I probably would want food with the
Right.
Viognier.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that. I don't know why my iPad's not working, so I'm not going to worry about it. Next up, we have what I like to call summer water. And that is our California Rosé. So let's see that Rosé, baby. Did you guys know that Saturday? Look at your cute little glass, Judy. I love it. Saturday was
Show off.
Rosé Day.
Where's the rosé?
I love
Here's
it.
the rosé. Whoops.
Yes. It's hard, right? To get it all situated.
It is hard.
So,
All right.
yeah, go
This
for it.
one is to help educate women on their risks and symptoms of ovarian cancer. When detected early, 5-year survival rate for ovarian cancer is 92%.
Crazy.
The theme profile is strawberry, cherry, melon, and orange peel. Hey,
So I'd love to hear some feedback from you all.
cheers. Oh, you fancy people that put it in glasses, and here I sit drinking out of plastic.
That's okay. Does anybody have some feedback for me on that rosé? Did you expect it to be sweet?
I
Maybe.
expected sweeter, actually.
Right.
I'm glad it's not.
Bridget, it looked like you wanted to say something.
I'm good. I'm sorry.
She's like, oh, damn. No, I didn't. I didn't want to talk.
No, I'll talk. I'm also drinking out of a swanky, cool plastic cup.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is really light, actually. It's
Right?
light and fruity.
I like to
Yeah,
tell
I
people
mean,
this isn't your mom.
What do you think,
like this.
Bethany?
It doesn't have a bad like afterward, like you're like, oh crap. It's actually really light.
It is.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bethany?
Sweet.
Erica,
I was gonna
say that again.
I appreciate that it's not too sweet because some people do their rosés too sweet, in my opinion. I like it drier. And also, cool summer tip: rosé makes really good popsicles. We call them
Oh, no.
rosés.
Rosés, baby. Yeah, I love it.
Nice.
We actually have a gift.
I like
set.
that idea.
When
Yeah,
you guys-
and if you don't know, Ziploc makes those long, skinny ones with a little zip on the top, and
Shut
it's
up.
just like the store-bought plastic ones, you know, that you push up. Those
She
are-
did those for 4th of July last year. They were the best.
Yes, we may have.
No, they
have
had such a
experience.
thing.
We
Wow.
sold them for donation only. That's how we got away with it. But we made a lot of money. We bought our freezer, which was good for the pandemic. Good foresight.
Oh my God. You're
They were
awesome.
the best popsicle.
Sorry.
I didn't know Ziploc made those things.
Just do a Google search or they're on Amazon. They'll sell them like their pack of 100, and they just do a little. And you can make your own anything. Like we did mojitos, strawberry margs, and frosés.
Oh,
I love it.
They were so good.
They're awesome.
I
I'm
love it.
liking that.
So
I bought a lot of them.
We sell gift sets. I just put a link in the chat, so if you that's how you will kind of take a look at the website and the different things that we offer. We have a really fun gift set called it's the Frosé gift set. So it has a little mix that you put with it and a bottle of rosé and these little ice cube, like a ice cube tray for like the big giant ice cubes. So I will also tell you that I like to freeze watermelon in the summer, like watermelon balls or chunks, and I put that in my rosé. It's one of my favorite treats. So the rosé is back this month. All of our rosé, with one exception, gives to the National Alliance for Ovarian Cancer Education. As Kim said, it educates women on the risks and symptoms of ovarian cancer. As we know, very much a silent killer. Women often don't know until it's too late. The other thing that organization does that I just love is they educate doctors when they're in their, not residency, what is that called? When they, their internship, right? When they're learning on how to recognize the symptoms in women. So if a doctor can recognize the symptoms before a woman can feel the symptoms, they can save a lot of lives. So every single bottle of this rosé educates 150 women on the risks and symptoms of ovarian cancer. So again, you know, it's wine. It ain't that serious, right? But everything that we do with the wine is very serious. We're dead serious about making this world better through the sales of our wine and through experiences like this. So I'm going to talk to you before we move on into the next wine. I want to tell you a little bit about how I think I said to you, our one hope is to bring together a community of people who make the world better through meaningful wine and experiences. There's lots of ways to become part of our community. The first way is to do something like this. Come to a tasting. You will have learned about One Hope. You will have tasted some really beautiful wine, and you're going to tell somebody. You're definitely going to tell somebody. That helps grow our community. It helps grow the awareness of what One Hope is trying to do. The next thing you can do is host a wine tasting like Kim is doing tonight. When you host the tasting, you are going to have fun. Everybody's going to get on the Zoom. And I know you mountain folk are closer to what my husband and I and our family are doing in terms of social distancing. We're not going anywhere. We are not hanging out. So this is our means of hanging out. And it's been really interesting with every single virtual tasting I do. The feedback I always get is, it was so good to see everyone. Donna's here, you know, everybody's here from out of state. Like, how fun is that, you know? So you can host a wine tasting. If you can book the tasting with me in July, I will provide the wine for your tasting. Typically it's $99 to purchase the wine to share with your friends. This is what we do. We can either pass out bottles, and Kim had these choices as well. You can share the bottles with your friends, or you can break it up. I am not allowed to do that, but as a host, you can do that and put it in little tasters for your friends. And we'll get together and do this and raise money for the thing that you're passionate about. Benefits to hosting the tasting are, we get to have fun. You get to donate 10% of all the sales to the charity that you choose. You're also going to earn 10% of the sales in free wine. So Kim, I don't even know if you remember that. I tell everybody, but a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't remember that. And the reason is because typically people are really motivated to raise money and get together with their friends. So that's the second way you can become part of our community. The third way is to become what we call a preferred customer. When you become a preferred customer, it's $20 a year, and that gives you access to a 10% discount on a half case and a 20% discount on a full case, as well as half-priced shipping. And you lock those discounts in for a full year. At the end of your year, just by purchasing wine for yourself, you get to donate 10% of your personal wine purchases to the charity of your choice, your kids' school, Planned Parenthood, anything that you choose. We do have a special this month, and that is, and it ends on the 30th, that is preferred customer membership is free for a year. So everybody gets to become a preferred customer tonight for free. And our spring sale is, rather than the 10 and the 20, you're going to get 15% off of a half case and 30% off of a full case of wine. So it's a real deep discount on some really beautiful wine. You can stock up for the summer, you know, think ahead to, I don't know if we're ever going to get to hang out with people again or not, but if we are, you're going to need wine. So, because everybody's going to be thirsty. So those are the specials tonight. And I think we're communicating primarily through the Evite. So I will send this out in a message to everyone on Evite that'll have, I put the link in the chat. If you want to copy that link, that's how you can shop. I'll also put it in the Evite, and I'll make sure that Kim has it so it's available for you as well. We also offer a really cool subscription service. So with the subscription service, you basically are going to create your own wine club. You can decide which wines you would like to receive and the frequency with which you'd like to receive them. So you get to pick whatever you want, and you get to choose when you want it to come. So every 1, 2, 3, or 4 months, that's going to keep you at that discount level, but it's also going to give you free shipping. So shipping normally, if you go to Napa and you buy a case of wine, I can tell you from personal experience, it's $47 to ship it home. Our shipping flat rate, because of course we ship everywhere and we ship a lot of wine, is $20 for a half or a full case. With the preferred customer, it's $10. With the subscription, it's free. There's no penalty ever for canceling your subscription, as long as you take 2 shipments. So if you take the first and second shipment, you're fine. If you cancel after the first, we will charge you the $20 for shipping. So that would be the only penalty. We also offer an absolutely gorgeous wine club. So if you're somebody who likes to be surprised and try new wines and be adventuresome, we have a beautiful wine club created by our winemaker, Mari. It's 6 bottles every quarter. It comes in between about 140 and 150 every quarter, and they are curated by her. So there's typically about 4 reserve wines in there. We have about 60 plus wines in our library. We're only trying 6 of them tonight. Though the wine club has an opportunity for you to try some of the reserve wines or exclusive wines in that as well. So you don't choose the wine in the wine club. So subscription you pick, and in the wine club you do not. And the most fun way to become part of this community is to do what Jen and Susan have done, and that is come and do this with me. It's a blast. And I will tell you, I normally do these private in-home wine tastings that are a riot, and we have so much fun. But since COVID, I've only done virtual tastings, and I love it. I love it. It is so much fun. I will continue to do these even when we get to go back into people's homes. It's just been such a cool way to get people together and just let people visit and have fun, you know? You don't have to clean your house. You don't even have to wear pants, because you guys don't know if I'm wearing pants or not. Ain't nobody looking, right? And I can like, you know, zhuzh up. I don't even have to really take a shower. You guys don't even know. So if you would like to learn more about joining the team, it's just $29. You do get a discount on your wine. You get paid to purchase your own wine. You can do anything from just be the wine girl for your friends and family to doing what I do, which is a full-time business. I do make a full-time income doing this. And I love every minute of it. I'm making an impact and I'm making an income and I'm having a blast. So $29 to join, you get the discount immediately, you get a website immediately, you get to share that with everybody. And again, get paid to purchase your own wine. So those are all the ways that you can become part of the community. Again, I think what I'd like to do is I'll put my email in that in the Evite that I send out, and I think I'm going to share it with Kim as well, so you can share it. Typically, I have a Facebook group that leads up to this, and that's how we would communicate together. But I know a lot of folks aren't on Facebook, so we kind of stuck with the Evite. But so yeah, I hope that you would reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat as well. Shoot me a note, Lori at givewithwine.com. And just shoot me a note if you 0297 if you want to talk about any of that. So cool. All right, who's ready to try some red wine?
Yes.
Yay! We're gonna do the Gewürztraminer last. I know you're like, wait, I have one more. We're gonna do that last because it's a really beautiful punch after the red wine. So next up, we're gonna have our Pinot Noir, which again, as I said, gives to the ASPCA, Pinot for Pets, or Pinot for Paws, excuse me. So helping to fund those pet adoptions. And Kim, you have the bottle, right?
I do.
Okay.
I'm getting better.
Do you want to read the back of the bottle for us?
Well, the stuff is the same as far as the charity.
Right.
Tasting profile is vanilla Coke, well, cola, cherries and ripe raspberries, pairs well with grilled salmon, brownies, barbecues, and helping animals.
Any kind of brownies are fine. We're fine.
Any kind of brownies. There we go.
Look at that pooch.
Hi, Coda.
That is so weird, Kim. It does smell like vanilla Coke.
Right? Isn't that wild?
Really? I didn't smell it.
You might get a better smell out of a glass. Honestly, like no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never, they talk about all these flavor profile. I either like it or I don't.
I get you 100%.
I don't have a very sophisticated palate, I'm afraid.
I understand that. I mean, I've learned a lot. One of the things that we offer when you're a cause entrepreneur is free wine education. So I always say I'm just a mom who drinks a lot of wine. I did not start drinking wine until I had a teenager. And then I made it my
Hate it.
Yeah.
It's my job. Donna, I can't hear you. Can you unmute?
I understand. I had 4 teenagers at the same time.
Yeah. You're going to need some wine when you have all the teenagers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Jen, what do you think about it?
Me, Jen? I like it. It's really yummy.
You, Jen.
Me, Jen.
Yeah.
I like it. It's very nice. It's a mellow kind of flavor, so I like it.
Are you normally a red wine drinker?
I am a red wine drinker, yes.
What's your go-to?
Not so much white wine, but definitely red wine, yeah.
Jen, what is your go-to wine?
Anything red.
Okay.
I'm pretty, I'm pretty easy when it comes to wines. So, but I just like red wine.
Yeah. When I
A
started,
nice sangria on a summer day, like a hot day. I just, yeah.
love it.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Steph? What do you think? Steph.
So I actually had the Pinot before we started talking about it. It was a bit on the light side from the normal Pinot we had, but therefore you can have a heavy dinner with it. But if I'm going just for a Pinot, I probably want heavier toward the end of the meal with the dessert. But this is great to sustain a large calorie meal with this Pinot.
Right,
Great.
right.
Get it wrong.
Nice. Nice.
Excellent, excellent. And Steph, I will tell you that we have about 5 different Pinot Noirs, and they very much run the spectrum. So in our Vintner collection, the wines are going to be a little bit lighter. It's typically what we pour at a tasting. So, did she go away? Oh, there you are. Sorry, you moved on.
Yeah.
You're there. I see you. So the
Shuffled.
wines are going to be a little bit lighter because when I pour a tasting, I'm pouring a tasting for people who maybe have never tried wine or they're very new to wine, as well as people who are very educated in wine. So we try to make it very, very approachable, but we do have several different Pinot Noirs. I would recommend for you, Steph, our Edna Valley Pinot Noir. I want you to take a look at that when you look at the website. It's a big, heavy, very rich Pinot Noir, where this Pinot Noir I would recommend for folks who maybe they only drink white wine and they want to kind of try to learn to like red wine. This Pinot Noir, the Vintner Pinot Noir, is going to be very approachable, just a really nice wine for them to try. Okay, I'm going to talk about another wine that we're not pouring because I love it so much, and my glass was empty, so I had to fill it. So this is our red blend. All of our Vintner collection wines came to the market about 2 years ago. It would be 2 years in September. And just about a year ago, we started entering them in all of the California wine contests. And they've all received 90-point plus ratings. This red blend was entered in the oldest wine competition in California, the California State Wine Competition. It received a 96-point rating and was awarded the best red blend in the entire contest. So does anybody like a red? I know, Kim, you said you don't really care for a red blend. Jen does. So, okay. So red blend, yeah, it's a pretty popular wine. And of course it's going to depend on the blend. This is a Cab and Merlot and Zin. Zin is California's #1. It's, grown in California. This is their sort of their benchmark grape, if you will. This wine is absolutely gorgeous. I'll read you the tasting notes. The tasting profile is berry cobbler, spice, and cocoa powder. It's very It's just beautiful. It's a wine, a lot like, I think it was Steph that was saying, it very much stands on its own. You can eat it, you can drink it with a meal for sure, but it's got enough going on that it's a nice glass of wine by itself, which that's typically how I drink wine. I don't typically drink with my meal. Well, now that my kids are gone, except now they're back, but then they're leaving again. Dinner for me can be a glass of wine and a couple of crackers. Like, I don't need to cook for anybody. This wine is beautiful for that. Tasting notes, I told you, berry cobbler spice cocoa powder, pairs well with grilled bacon burgers, berry pie, and shooting stars.
What doesn't go with a bacon burger?
This is what I'm saying, right? Exactly. Exactly. One of the things I love the most about this wine is the cause partner that we work with. It's an organization called Team Rubicon. Have any of you heard of Team Rubicon? I'm curious.
No.
It
No.
sounds familiar, but
Well, you've seen them on the news, probably more in the last 18 months or so. They actually provide training for veterans to do disaster relief in their own communities. So they do big things like when there's a hurricane or a tornado or an earthquake, etc. But they also do, and I know the hands I'm going to see. Do you guys remember the Hayman Fire? Of course you do. Everybody remembers the Hayman Fire about whatever 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah, nodding heads. Yes. Okay.
No.
No. Okay. Well, it was a huge.
where was
It
that?
was, almost like, I think up by Devil's Head, kind of.
Okay.
And it was a huge fire. Like, it super affected everybody down here. Our whole yard was covered with ash. It was a giant fire. One of the things that was really cool to me about Team Rubicon is not only do they do these big disaster events, you know, they've been in New York City since COVID started, helping people there. But they do small things like they went up and did fire mitigation and planted trees and things like that. And it's all veterans. They now include civilians as well, can now join their organization and help out. But it's just a really cool organization. I love that we partner with them. So we also partner with, and I'm always a little hesitant, never know if it's a good day or not to bring this up, but we do partner with John Elway and his Seven Cellars brand. I try not to talk about that on Sundays usually because it's not usually a very popular topic, but I will tell you that the two wines that Seven Cellars produces through us are a Cab and a Chardonnay, and they're both absolutely beautiful. The Chardonnay is from the Carneros region, so it's got a little bit of butter to it, pretty fruity, really a pretty Chardonnay, unlike a lot of Chardonnays that people don't like. And the Cab is out of this world. Like, I was shocked when I tried it. I did not expect it to be so delicious. So also give to Team Rubicon. So those are our partners with Team Rubicon. Okay, we've got, I believe, let me look at my notes here. I think we have 2 more wines to try. One is the Cab. So if you guys want to get your Cab situated, I'll tell you the story about our cause partner. We partner with an organization called ACT Today. They were one of our very first cause partners. ACT Today provides ABA therapies for kids with autism. ABA stands for Applied Behavioral Analysis. It's like a very intense behavior modification. And by intense, I mean 4 to 6 hours a day, every single day, to the tune of about $150 an hour, not covered by insurance. So what ACT Today does is they help fund these therapies for families who can't afford them. The woman who started it, she and her husband adopted a little boy after years of infertility. Got home. This is about 22, 23 years ago now. At about 18 months, they started to notice that something didn't seem quite right. The pediatrician, again, 20 plus years ago, we didn't know nearly as much as we know now. Pediatrician was like, don't worry about it. He's just slow. He's a boy. He'll figure it out. Consequently, he wasn't diagnosed until he was almost 5. And by then, he was nonverbal, not toileting himself, was violent. It was tearing their family apart. And along with the diagnosis came ABA therapy. And they noticed how much it changed. And I mean, this, you know, they were literally falling apart as a family. And now they were able to communicate with their child. They were able to put their child in school. It just changed everything for them. But again, they recognize that people can't afford this. So they created Act Today to be able to provide that therapy for families. Act Today now has a partnership with the military, because, you know, one of the things that's hard for kids on the spectrum are transitions, and think about how often military families move. And so they've partnered with all the armed forces to help support those families. They'll do things like they provide speech devices and iPads and things like that. I read an article about a year ago where they actually built a fence around a family's home. One of the things that's very common for kids on the spectrum is what's called eloping, which means that if a door opens, they go. They don't have any sense of danger necessarily, whatever. And so Act Today actually built a fence around these people's homes so their child would stay in the yard. So very, very cool organization. I love this cab. I'd love to hear your feedback on it. Kim, have you tried it yet?
It was like 30 seconds ago. I have to try it again now.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not a huge cab sav fan, but that's not bad at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bethany, what do you think?
Are you a cab girl, Bethany?
We thought
Bethany?
it's Phil is helping. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Phil is helping me with the profile here. And it's charity. It's got flavor. It's full. You can definitely drink it on your own. And therefore, I would not have that with food. I would have it with fruit and nuts or the crackers.
Okay. I love it. Fruit and nuts, and I think you said crackers. I think that's a fair assessment. It's a beautiful, smooth cab. Bethany, I'm going to ask you too, but I often tell people, if you like a big, bold, chewy cab, that's not what this is. This is a beautiful, smooth, just a really, really pretty cab. Bethany, are you typically a cab drinker?
I do drink cab. Actually, I was going to say just what you had said. I was surprised that it wasn't bigger and chewier than.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the lightest cabs I've had in a long time, actually.
Yeah. It is. It's, again, it goes back to that, you know, this collection being more accessible. And I would say the same thing to you that I said to Steph, and that is that we've got the wide spectrum of cabs. So if you're looking for that big, tannic, bold, chewy cab, we have that as well. This is going to be a cab maybe for somebody who's just trying cab for the first time, or does like a cab with their meal, things like that. It's a really, really pretty wine. Okay, any other feedback for me from this cab? Okay, I'll let you guys finish that. As you're finishing it, we're gonna drink our last wine together. I do want you, if you're able to see the chat, everybody should be able to see it, take a copy and paste the link to this event so that 10% of your purchase will go to Planned Parenthood. And then please take my information as well. Like I said, I am going to reach out. We want you to use that link to place your order so that we are sure to give back to not just Kim's charity, but also to build her free wine that she's going to earn. And it looks like we lost Kim. So we'll just hang out here till she comes back. And how's it going out there in Florida? Oh, I got to unmute you. Here, unmute yourself.
It's going pretty well.
And I think you said, but tell me where you live. What town?
It's the Panhandle, Panama City.
Okay.
Yeah.
My bestie, who I'm supposed to be in Belize with right now,
Oh, nice.
and her husband are down in the Keys, and she keeps sending me pictures and I'm like, are you the Florida Tourism Board? Like, what is happening right now? Because it makes me want to go so badly. But I do love your state. It's beautiful there. They live in Melbourne, so by the beach. Yeah, beautiful area. Well, it looks like we lost Kim. I don't know if she's coming back or not. I want to wait for her because this was her choice. She really wanted to share this wine. In the meantime, why don't I just open it up? If you guys have questions, unmute yourself. Feel free to ask away. Anything like that. No, nothing. Nobody's got anything. Jen, do you have any questions? Jen Ginsburg?
No, this was awesome. I've been taking notes the whole time, so thank you, Lori. and thank you to Kim when she joins back on for letting me participate.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you came. I'm glad that it was a great group, right? Like a really fun group to, good. So Judy, maybe one of you neighbor girls, maybe you can like find out if Kim knows that she's offline or try to see if we can get her back on because I don't want to taste this wine without her. Let's see what else I can tell you. My son's getting married on Thursday. That's exciting. What else can I tell you? That's basically all I'm thinking about right now. Anne, it looks like you have something to say.
No, I was just trying to paste your information somewhere.
Oh, good. Okay. Good. And like I said,
She'll be back on. I bet you she's freaking out right now, trying to get back on.
I'm sure.
I would be panicking if I was in her shoes.
Because you're like, I left my friends.
She'll be back on. There she is.
There she is. Hi, friend. Welcome back.
Oh my God, my computer just decided it was a perfect time to reboot. And
no, we didn't want to taste the grand finale without you.
Well, I didn't hear. What did anybody say about that? Where's Janice?
We haven't done it yet.
Did Janice go away?
I don't see Janice. No.
Okay. All right. Bethany, what about you? What'd you think of this?
Which one is this?
We're still drinking.
Cabs. We're still on the Cab Sav for a minute. Go, Bethany.
Aren't we about to go to the dessert one that you Kim?
Are you on the Gewürztraminer now, Steph? Yeah.
That's going to be our last wine.
Yeah.
One of the things that's neat about serving the Gewürztraminer last is after you've had that cab, I literally had a Mike and Ike sitting on my desk and I popped it in my mouth. It's not going to go well for me at all with this Gewürz, but I love this wine. It's not really a dessert wine per se. It actually is going to go very well with spicy foods like Thai food or Vietnamese food, real spicy foods. The sweetness of it is going to cut through that wine, cut through that spice really nicely. My favorite pairing with it is Thai food.
Ooh.
It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous.
I'm not usually a sweet wine fan, but I actually, the first time I had Gewürztraminer, or however you say it, was in Germany, and I really started to like it in Germany. And
yeah. I mean, that's what they're famous for. So this one is actually, the grapes are grown in Monterey, which is where I'm from, Monterey, California. So you have really very cool days. It has a very, very particular climate there. A lot of fog, cool days. It never gets super warm. This is a beautiful, beautiful wine. Pairs well with blue cheese, coconut curry, polenta cake, prosciutto and melon. Again, any spicy Thai food, anything like that. It is a sweeter wine, as you're finding out. But not terribly sweet. And I love to serve it after the red, that bigger red, and then you have that beautiful sweet wine. It just to me, it's such a nice sort of exclamation point at the end of a tasting.
Well, Steph, you were pointing at your glass, Steph. Do you like it? You were pointing at your glass. You like this? Can you speak?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's got like lychee, I'm trying to see lychee and passion fruit, but you can get like that spice also. If you can smell it, even if your glass is empty, I don't know about in the plastic, but if you can smell it in your glass, you'll get like that little bit of spice right on the end of it. It's such a pretty wine. I'm trying to teach my kids who are of age to enjoy wine because of course they like shots because they're in college, right? Like that's basically what they do. So since they've been home in COVID, like every couple of nights we have wine education, and well, this is their favorite. Of course.
Nice.
Sweet, right?
It's kind of interesting because it says this bottle helps fund resources to eliminate the challenges of rare diseases.
Yeah. So it's a very cool organization called Global Genes. And so, we're very used to the organizations, I can't think of one, but the American Lung Association or, the big organizations that give to cancers and things but there's a list of little known diseases, things that are autoimmune, things like that don't get government funding. They're not sexy. So they don't really get like all the funding that they need. So Global Genes is the coolest organization. You can look them up and you can see all of the research that they support. It's just such a great organization. Things like, I think like cystic fibrosis and, things that just don't have like this big money behind them because very fewer people have that disease. So that's what that gives to. We also, if you like sweet wine, in this same sort of genre, we have a beautiful Monterey County Riesling, again, done in Monterey. We have a Muscat. If you like a Moscato, we have a similar, it's made from the same grapes. It's made a little differently, but it's called a Muscat from Monterey County. Those are all available. Really, really, really beautiful wines. So, is everybody's wine gone? Oh, no, Jen's still drinking. I love that. Sally, is your wine gone? Is it? Yeah.
So, Bethany, you've been really quiet. I haven't heard from you. What's going on? You need to unmute yourself.
Not much. I think I'm lagging.
Yeah, that you do have she actually shared quite a bit
really?
about her cab. Yeah. Hi, Buzz.
Of course. When I wasn't here.
Sorry, we had to keep going. I said that I wouldn't let them talk about the Gewürz until you got back, though.
Okay.
Yeah, she likes a big chewy cab, so I was letting her know that we do have that available, and to just kind of poke around the website. Some of our reserve, I might recommend for you if you like a chewy cab, a big, bold cab. The Napa Valley cab is off the charts. Depending on your budget, I would very much recommend any of our estate wines for any of you. So we do, by the way, have an estate in Napa. It is in Rutherford, right off the St. Helena Highway. Again, some of you have been there. It's right across the street from Cake Bread and right next door to Mondavi. Imagine that. But we also have a winery that is due to open this year. God knows if it will actually open this year. Hello, COVID. But like Jen and I and Susan will all be going there in September for our leadership retreat, right? Yes, girl. Yeah. So we have a winery that will open when we're allowed to. And that will be open to preferred customers. So if you end up in Napa and you want to come to the One Hope Winery, we will have a way for you to make an appointment and go to the winery and try the wines. Hopefully meet our winemaker, Mari. She's an amazing woman and she's super passionate about winemaking. And all of our estate wines are we're this close to being certified organic, if that's a thing for you. It's a long process to be certified organic, and we are currently considered a green wine, but within the year we will be certified organic. So that's all of our estate made wines. The estate is completely sustainable. These folks are really invested in what we're doing in the communities.
You know, I just found out about this organization, and of course, I can't remember the name of it, but because we're going to Crested Butte in July, and we rented an RV, and you pay like $79 a year, and there are thousands of wineries that you camp at.
Yes. Yes. I just found out about that myself.
Huh. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So one hope needs to be one of those.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. Isn't that so cool?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Park your RV on the winery property and camp there. And those of you who've been to Napa know, like, it is the most gorgeous, beautiful place. I mean, it's gorgeous. So
I think we should all at some point plan a trip where we all can go there and meet.
Agree.
There you go.
Great idea.
I give you permission to plan it, Sally.
Go get it, Sally. I'm the planner. I told Kim, you know, we have our leadership retreat. So I'm really blessed. I'm born and raised in California, which might make a lot of you hate me. I'm sorry. But I've literally been in Colorado as long as I lived in California. So, I mean, I'm almost a native, not quite, but all my kids are.
Born in California too.
Who's from California? Sally?
I was born there in Sacramento.
Okay, yeah. So I'm central, more central. Carmel, Monterey. I'm from Monterey. Yeah. My dad was born in Pacific Grove. Born and raised in PG. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, one of the greatest things about this business and doing this is I get to go to Napa on a regular basis. And also wine tasting is free because you're in the industry, which is awesome. So yeah, let's plan it up. Girls, let's plan that trip for sure.
Well, yeah, when I found out about that, I thought, because we are thinking, Lynette, about buying an RV. And I would love to just go to California and up the coast into Oregon and just hit all those wineries.
Yes, ma'am. Now, does Des drink wine?
Des drinks anything you put in front of it.
So I ask because my husband doesn't drink. So he's like,
oh, no.
Ever. Are you kidding me? And he loves to buy me wine. Like, it's one of his favorite things. We go to Napa and he's like, yeah, honey, go ahead. Get that $500 case of wine. I'm all, okay, well, thank you. So fun.
Crazy.
Anyway. Well, friends, we've kind of come to an end here, and it looks like Jen's son is ready for her to get the heck off of here. Thank you so much, Kim.
Well, thank you, Kim.
Oh, sure. And I thank everybody for coming. It was kind of just a way to have something to do.
Yeah.
Although we